Chapter 2. Frankie woke up in a brightly lit hospital room. Harpy and Xander were talking to each other about what happened as a third person sat quietly by the window. Ashley, I know I should have used the heavier composite in the armor. He always wants it lighter, but I should have stuck with my instincts, Xander said to Harpy. Don't beat yourself up, Ashley said. It's not like the old days. We couldn't expect a weapon like that. Frankie's just lucky he wasn't hit in the head like the other guy. Frankie looked groggily between the two and asked, What are you talking about, Ash? Hearing his voice, the two rushed closer. Xander said, Don't try to get up. Your leg is mending. Frankie looked down and saw his right leg was in a large white box with no visible lights that covered it from the thigh down. What happened? He asked. Your right leg was shattered. The bones are pretty much powder, Xander said. They're using that machine to rebuild it. Frankie looked confused. Ashley said, Sledge hid sonic weapons in his swords. He was using them to shake the ground so his opponents would be off balance. He accidentally fired it while it was pointed at you. You're lucky to only be laid up for a few months. His teammate also got hit, and they said he may not be able to see or hear anything for at least a year. Ashley didn't look happy. Neither she nor Xander would look him in the eye. So why are you guys so down? I'm going to be fine. I'll bet I'll be back up and fighting in less than a month, Frankie said. No, Franklin. You're going to be out for the rest of the season, the man by the window said. Dad? Frankie said. I told you not to call me that. Your name is Franklin. At least call me Frankie like everyone else does. Franklin Joseph Albert. I'll call you whatever I please, Mr. Albert said with a smile. You better get used to it because you're going to be spending a lot of time with me, learning how to manage the team, learning about the expenses, and the rest of what you need to know to properly run things. At least until you're back to playing again. But if I'm with you, who's going to be on the top 5? Frankie asked. I'll find someone suitable, Mr. Albert said. I've been looking for a second alternate for some time. Remember, I was the one who chose the team members before you became captain. And Anuna has always been a top team, even before you started playing. Who will run the team? Frankie said, sounding desperate. Miss Christian is the vice captain, and she already handles the day-to-day training. I'm sure she can handle running the team till you get back. Mr. Albert walked over to Frankie and placed a hand on his shoulder. Now if you'll excuse me. Since you're awake, I have other things to attend to. He turned and nodded to Ashley and Xander. Miss Christian, Mr. Baltov. With that, Mr. Albert left. The room was quiet for a moment, and finally Frankie asked, So what happened to Sledge? Arrested, Ashley said. He's probably going to jail. The Snow Bears issued a formal apology saying they didn't know what Sledge was doing, which is hard to believe given what he was doing. The door opened and in walked Golden Eagle with Everest behind her. Golden Eagle looked at Xander and said, See, honey, I told you he wouldn't blame you. She rushed over and put her arms around Xander's neck, kissing him on the cheek. Then she sat down in the chair next to the bed and asked, How are you feeling, Frankie? Tired, Frankie said. How are you, Selena? Selena smiled. Pretty good. Just got back from lunch with Evie. He didn't want to come and see you. He said you'd be mad we were not training for the next match. Frankie nearly jumped out of his bed. Wait, you haven't been training? Ashley, why aren't they training? We're still going to the championship this year. I intend to be back at the compound as soon as they take this machine off, so don't get comfortable because in a few weeks I'll be back ready to go. No one said anything as they exchanged uncomfortable glances. What? Why is everyone so quiet? Frankie was gesturing his arms as he asked the question. Finally, Xander said, According to your doctor, you're going to be in that machine for at least 2 months. Frankie looked aghast. He stared at his teammates in turn, as if one would say it was a joke. When no one did, he swallowed hard and said, I thought Dad was kidding. He was quiet for a moment before adding, Well, 2 months isn't so bad. I can do that. I'll just consider it a test of willpower. Then after 2 months, I'll jump right back in. Everyone started exchanging looks again. Frankie looked worried as he asked, Well, I am only going to be in this machine for 2 months, right? Again, nobody answered. Well? Frankie demanded. Even if you get out in 2 months, you're not allowed to train while you go through physical therapy, Ashley said. Also, you're marked out for the rest of the season because your injury was so bad. The room seemed unnaturally still. Everyone looked as if they were expecting Frankie to explode. He looked around at his teammates wide-eyed. Finally he said, "I can't be stuck in here without being able to train." "You don't have a choice. It's the only way," Ashley said, emphasizing the word only. "No, I'm fine, I'm sure of it. Just let me get my leg out and I can prove it," Frankie said as he started to reach for the machine. Everyone dove in to stop him. "Selena, get the doctor. Tell him to bring tranquilizer," Ashley yelled, trying to pull Frankie's hand away from the machine. Selena ran out the door, which did not close behind her, giving everyone in the hall a view of the spectacle inside. "Come on, you guys, trust me. I know my own body. I can tell I'm fine," Frankie said, trying to convince his teammates as they struggled to hold him back. "Rufus!" Ashley yelled at Everest. "Hold his arms down. We can't let him pull his leg free." He locked Frankie's arms back, pinning him against the bed. "Go ahead, I don't need them," Frankie said as he lifted his left foot and started to kick the machine. Ashley dove across the bed and caught his foot. She was tossed around trying to hold it to the bed. "Let me go! Let me go! I swear I'll start biting!" Frankie yelled as he tried to get his mouth close enough to his teammates. Selena and a doctor came running in. The scene that they met was strange, if not a little humorous. 3 people desperately trying to keep a 4th in bed he desperately didn't want to be in as he swiveled his head around trying to bite them. "What on earth is going on here?" the doctor yelled. "He's trying to pull his leg out of the machine," Xander yelled. "Someone do something before he bites me," Rufus yelled as he tried to avoid Frankie's mouth. Frankie was able to squirm one of his arms free of Rufus's grip and tried to punch the other arm holding him down. Xander jumped in, grabbing Frankie's free arm, trying to pull it back down. The doctor yelled for some orderlies, and soon the room was full of people trying to keep a single man in bed. Even being completely immobile, Frankie did not give up. "You think that's enough to beat me?" he yelled. "I don't need my arms or legs. I'll just beat you with my spit." He started gathering phlegm for a saliva salvo. The doctor stuck him in the thigh with a large needle. Almost instantly, Frankie started to relax. "That was nothing. I'm still gonna get out," Frankie muttered as his body started to loosen and his head fell to the pillow. "That shot should keep him down for a couple hours. Now what was all that about?" the doctor asked, looking around the room for an explanation. Xander met the doctor's eyes and said, "I'm afraid he's not going to stay in that bed on his own. He wants out, and he'll keep trying until he is." The doctor looked a little annoyed. "I'm sure once he comes around we'll be able to reason with him," he said. "It was probably just shocking to hear he was going to be laid up for a couple of months. Everything should be fine." The team laughed. "I don't see what's so funny about this." "Do you even know who that is?" Selena asked. "He's Franklin Albert II, and he's a fighter in your little war games," the doctor said. "He is Giant Slayer, and he is the 3rd highest S-rank player in the game," Selena said, "and only one of 10 S-rank players in this hemisphere." "What does that have to do with anything?" the doctor asked, looking indignant. "Because he studies martial arts like other people read books," Ashley said. "He spends nearly every waking hour conditioning his body to be stronger, tougher, and more flexible. His physical strength is insane, but his drive is worse. He once forced himself to stay awake for a week because he was sure it would help him stay conscious longer. He ran 400 miles nonstop to beat the world record because he wanted to prove he could. Then he did it again because he thought he should have done it faster the first time. He's one of the strongest men in the world and easily the most stubborn. If he says he'll get out of that bed, that's what he'll do." The doctor looked sick. "I guess I'll keep a set of tranquilizers handy in case he acts up again," he said, patting his pockets to check if they were there. "Keep some orderlies nearby, and be careful. He can be very sneaky when he wants to be," Ashley said. "Come on, everyone. We have training to do." With that, the team got up and started walking out of the room. Once in the hallway, Ashley turned to Xander and said, "They'll never be able to keep him in that bed." Xander grimaced. "I'll start designing something to keep him there. I'm sure his father's going to ask me to do that anyway." "Not tonight, you're not," Selena said, jumping in front of him and stopping the group. "You promised to take me out for our 1-year anniversary once we knew Slayer was okay. I'm holding you to it." What is it you don't understand about training tonight? Ashley said dangerously as she glared at the other woman. Selena, brow furrowed, looked momentarily worried, but then she ignored the threat and said, "It doesn't matter. We're going anyway. I'm going to get ready." Without waiting for a reply, she ran down the hallway and out of sight. Ashley turned to Xander. "You need to get your girlfriend under control." "She does what she wants," Xander said, shrugging his shoulders. "I'm not sure I could control her even if I wanted to." Ashley looked defeated. She huffed and said, "It doesn't matter. Take her on her date. She'll pay for it tomorrow." "You had better be there, Rufus." Ashley shot dagger eyes up at the much larger man. "I don't think they want me on their date," Rufus joked. He laughed to himself but quickly stopped after he saw Ashley's scowl. "Where are Andrew and Henry?" she asked. "Training. Andrew said he wanted to get used to his new sprinters, and Henry's working on his technique. He said he was upset about getting hooked and thrown off the platform," Rufus said. Ashley looked surprised. "Henry said that?" "Not in those words exactly. There was a lot more swearing," Rufus said. "He would be fine if he'd stop using that thing like a bat," Ashley said. "Sometimes it's hard to believe he got this far with nothing but toughness and cussing." As they walked out of the hospital, Ashley turned to Xander. "All right, go have fun on your date. Bring back our little eagle safely." "I thought you were mad at her," Xander said. "What's with this little eagle and bring her back safely stuff?" Ashley smiled and said, "I would hate if anything happened to her, and it wasn't me who did it."
This has been a reading from the book Battle Games Book 1 by T. Alex Ratcliffe. If you'd like to find the full book, or the audiobook once it's published, follow the link in the description to my Amazon page. Also, feel free to browse the other videos on my channels, including book reviews from other accomplished authors. If you are an author and interested in having your book turned into an audiobook and having me read it, please contact me through the link in the description.